Hi, welcome to Go Tell Mom. I'm Dianna Kelly, and I've been momming for several decades, including tending my fur babies, kids I gave birth to, kids I mentored as a broadcaster and college instructor, my kids' friends, and my friends. I'm not a psychologist or doctor, but I do know how to dig up advice from those who are, and that's what I'll share with you. If you have something to share with me, remark, comment, question, please comment below. I grew up with a super mom, or at least it seemed like it at the time. Mom could do anything: sew our clothes, shovel the walks, clean the house, plant tomatoes, rake the yard, cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner, haul us to appointments, but she did need her gadgets, and fixing them was Dad's job. Dad liked gadgets. He bought Heath kits and old wooden consoles and built new TVs for us. When a friend replaced a perfectly operating built-in stove with something state-of-the-art, Dad replaced our much less modern version with it and built the cabinetry. Of course, there were times when Dad to the rescue meant waiting 3 weeks for the washer to be repaired, but on the whole, he was a good fixer-upper. Mom appreciated having appliances that worked, and she got a kick out of Dad digging up new gadgets at the flea markets, which is how we wound up with a Dutch oven, a wok, a steam cleaner, and a handheld vacuum. Mom was a demon on dust bunnies. I can't honestly imagine not having a vacuum cleaner these days, especially since I have 2 fur babies. Between them and my kids, much dust and leaf remains trot across my floor, and the vacuum is a huge blessing, although the dogs would disagree. One thing I insisted on when we moved somewhere new, and we did that a lot, was a dishwasher in the house. Didn't matter if it was fancy or not, we needed to have one. One of the gadgets Dad dug up when I was in middle school was a dishwasher, and I was personally thrilled since I was the dishwasher up till then, and I hated it, hence the demand for a dishwasher as an adult. One gadget my mother loved but I avoid is the iron. I was one of the few kids in high school who actually had creases in my jeans. I didn't care one way or the other, but Mom did. She made sure she packed me off to college with an iron, which I would use when I was packing to go home. She also had one of those hair dryers that was a hood that you'd place over your curlers and let your hair dry quickly, and it had a spinning pumice stone to file your nails while you were doing it. Yeah, another Dad-found gadget. A lot of other gadgets have popped up over the years: microwave ovens, Swiffers, cleaning wipes, coffee makers, electric kettles, all aimed at making life easier for parents. BuzzFeed pointed to some of the kid-oriented ones, like a pack of stick-on fever indicators that'll let you monitor your child's fever for up to 48 hours simply by looking at the bug sticker on their forehead. They change color to indicate temperatures. And then there's stick-on placemats to not only thwart your toddler's Thor-like attempts to toss everything on the floor, but also keep their food off germy restaurant tables. Parents tend to buy tech for their kids a lot, and Asurian.com says it's because of how it makes them feel, not because of newfangled features or functionality. Their latest survey shows 44% of parents buy tech for entertainment and fun, while 29% do so because gadgets are cool, new, and exciting. Ironically, more than half of parents say that they don't feel comfortable with tech. Now, personally, I'm getting braver about checking out YouTube answers to my "what does this do" problem. As long as my gadget doesn't fry, I'm willing to see what I can do to get the most out of it. Mom and Dad would be proud. Now let's get a perspective from my friend and fellow educator and gadget queen, Sheri Waltz. So I was thinking about all of the things that are conveniences, and how different it is from when I was a kid and the things that my mother thought were great conveniences and that I leave alone, like the iron. She actually sent me off to college with an iron, which I would only use when I was coming back from college to go back home again. Yes, Mom, of course I've used it. But there are other things that I'm not sure I could get by with, like my dishwasher.
Yes.
Anytime we would move, I would always insist we're getting a place with a dishwasher. And there was only one time we hadn't, and I was just miserable all year about it.
Yeah.
Because even when it was the 2 of us, only one of us was really doing dishes.
It's still a lot of dishes.
Yeah.
Even just 2 people.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I could not deal without my dishwasher. That's the one thing. How about you?
Well, I sent my kids, my oldest, to college, not with an iron, but I sent her with a steamer.
Yeah, see, that would be handy.
So she did go at that one, but now I just make sure we don't buy anything that needs to be iron. I still have one, but I probably use it more for crafts than I do for anything else.
Yep.
But yeah. So if we're thinking of, I guess, like just gadgets out in the real world, I have seen on TikTok this contraption that is a steamer, but it is like a closet. I do think that would be very interesting. Like you put your stuff in the closet and then it will steam it. And then so you just hang your stuff in there and it will steam everything and everything will be nice.
It would have to be on with plastic hangers,
yes,
that's for sure.
Exactly, or something. It just seemed like a really good invention. If it needs to be ironed, it doesn't come in my house. Same with dry cleaning. If something needs to be dry cleaned, I don't buy it.
Well, usually what I'll do is, if it's on sale and it says dry cleaning, I'm like, we'll see, and then I'll throw it in the washer and dryer. And you know what? Half the time it doesn't need to be dry cleaned.
Yeah.
And the other half, if it does, then, well, all right, so here's a miss I can write off and donate to Goodwill. Yeah, ironing was one of those things that my mother loved it. And she loved it because what she would do, she had an adjustable height ironing board, and she would do the week's worth of laundry and have it next to her, and she'd be ironing while she was watching the soaps, which if you're going to iron, that's what you do, because then it's a good excuse for watching the soaps. It's like, well, I have to do something while I'm ironing. And at least she used to chuckle and say that to me. But I don't know. I mean, laundry was one of those things too. All you need is one time when your washing machine breaks down. Yes. And it's like, what would I do without the washer?
Yes. When we ever have to wash our comforter, and I take it in, I'm always like, we should get a duvet, number one. Number two, when I take it to the laundromat, I'm like, it is expensive to pay to do your laundry at a laundromat. I'm like, this is outrageous. Yes. I cannot believe it. But certainly our king-size comforter is too big for our washing machine. But
I do mine in my washing machine.
Yeah?
But I do quilts. I don't do comforters as much. My daughter gave me a comforter to put on the bed that she uses when she comes to visit. And first of all, do you like today's washing machines? No.
Without the agitator, they don't work.
Who thought that was a good idea?
I don't know. I think they're awful. I don't think that they clean anywhere near as good as they used to.
Yep.
But then I try not to be like, I don't know. Then I feel like I'm an old, crotchety person being like, back in the day, they were so much better. But I feel like they were.
Yeah, they really were. I mean, I will complain, whenever I have to use a washing machine that the place I'm very grateful that the place I'm renting first of all, didn't increase my rent. And secondly, they have a washer and dryer for me. But there was one point, and it was a used washer and dryer. I didn't care when I moved in. But at one point it broke down, and they replaced it with one without an agitator. And I'm like,
I mean, they are nice because you can fit more in. So there are some benefits to it. But
what's the point of having more to fit in if it doesn't work when it's in there?
That's true. It doesn't clean it as well. I don't know. And just in general, we could have a whole show just on washing machines.
Seriously.
Because I have bought so many. Ever since we had our first one, which was an agitator one, it was the bottom of the line, and it lasted forever. And then since then, I think we have bought a new washer. I mean, we've been here 15 years, and I'm on my third.
Are you kidding?
No, it's insane how it just. We might be hard on them. I don't know. I don't know the answer, but.
But does the phrase planned obsolescence come into play here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy. I just, I couldn't imagine living in a world without modern conveniences in that sense, washers and dishwashers and things like that. And so I'm always very fortunate that I have lived in homes that have had those things and we haven't had to deal with them. But
we didn't have a dishwasher when I was growing up until I was like 14. I was the dishwasher until then, which is why I always insisted any place I moved to had a dishwasher because it was horrible dealing without it. Dishpan hands are real. I just want you to know.
A real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the youngest of my family. So when we moved into our forever home, as a child, it had a dishwasher and I was 5 when we moved in. So I always remember having one, but I don't remember the house we had previously, so I don't know if that one had one or not, and I wouldn't have been old enough to do dishes anyway because I was little, so I don't know. Yeah. But we've always had them, and we've always used them. I know in a lot of families they don't always use the dishwasher. Sometimes it becomes just a drying rack, or they don't.
Or the dog food goes in there.
You know. Other things, but we've always used it.
Yeah. Once Dad found one. He was a big one to go to flea markets and things like that. So the latest, newest, somebody's cast off because they got something bigger and better would wind up in our house because Dad would build a cabinet for it and hook it up. He was an engineer. And, we'd wind up with something as nice as what everybody else had because Dad would get the cast offs from somebody that was getting the showroom version
Right.
of, and that was what happened with our dishwasher. We wound up with a dishwasher that, he tucked in, took out some cabinets that we actually didn't use because we had a utility room and Mom put everything in there. And those cabinets were like for Tupperware and things like
Right.
that. And she's like, I can live without Tupperware. I'd really like the dishwasher there. And that's where he would put it, But other things that we would wind up getting, he would find at the flea market would be things like a steamer, a wok, all of those other, kind of cool gadgets that, were 80s, 70s, 80s gadgets. Dad would find them at the flea market and, he'd make somebody a deal and we'd wind up getting it for like $2 and bring it home to Mom. And if there was something wrong with it, and half the time it was just a wire that broke, a cord that broke or something like that, he'd fix it good as new. Mom used the roll-up roller curler things, but this was like a hood you could put over that and turn on, like a plastic hood. Mm-hmm. And it was really, really cool. And her hair was always perfect.
I still have my mom's of that.
Oh, really?
It was hers was a plastic, like the top of it was hard plastic, and then it had an arm, so then you would connect it all, and you'd sit under the dryer like you'd sit in a hair salon. Mm-hmm. And I still have that of my mom's. I still have her typewriter. I don't use either one of them, but and a piece of luggage. Yeah. All from when she was a kid or growing up or whatever.
I mean, but the cool thing about this particular hair thing is it also had something that it was a spinning pumice stone, so you could literally file your nails on that while you were getting your hair dry. I mean, it was real. Dad always found state-of-the-art stuff, and Mom would make sure he opened it up and vacuumed anything that was in there and cleaned it out and all that, so it was good as new when she'd use it. But it was really hilarious because the things he thought would be important to her, but the steamer and all those kind of weird gadgets that were
I'm a
fun.
sucker for kitchen gadgets. I love them, and I use a lot of them. But some of them I don't use as much. I mean, we've had a bread maker forever. I still use a bread maker until my oldest moved out, and then she took it with her. I keep meaning to either get another one or pick one up at Goodwill or something. But
if my dad were still with us, I'd have him search for one for you.
Yeah, because she still uses it. It's just really convenient, to make bread. I
need to get one of those because I've never tried making bread.
It's super easy, and I will say that it doesn't last as long on the counter. So if you either have to refrigerate it or freeze it because it'll last only a couple of days before getting moldy.
It would only last a couple of days in my house growing up anyway. So
yeah. When the kids were growing up and there was 4 of us, we would make it on the smallest setting, and it would just be basically a little wedge, and everybody would have one piece of bread, with their meal, and we would make them all the time. And I just loved them because you could kind of like a crock pot, you put all the ingredients in the morning and you say what time you want it to be done at, and then it would be done when it was time for dinner. Yeah. So it was just really convenient. We've always eaten a lot of bread with our dinners. So I really
if you're making a lot of stews and crock pot stuff, of course, then sops up all the gravy there.
It does. It does. Of course, my oldest decided, she was learn how to make sourdough from scratch and all that. So she usually doesn't, although she uses the bread machine a lot, she prefers to make her own bread. I've never made my own bread like in an oven before. Like I've used the bread machine all the time, but I've never just made it.
Like banana bread or anything like that?
I guess I made banana bread, but I was thinking more like sourdough or wheat bread or anything like all those types of breads. I just used the bread machine for. I had one. I got one when we got married, and that one broke, and then my sister bought me a second one, and then Ivy took it. So
now, how about the crock pots? I mean, I've got one somewhere in one of my cabinets, and friends swear by them, but how good are they?
I love them. My kids hate them. So before I had kids, I used to go to, it was like a meal prep club. Yeah. And so you would pay a certain amount of money, and you would go and you would prep meals for the crock pot, and you would freeze them, and then you take them out and you would put them in the crock pot and you'd cook them. And I loved that.
That's great.
That was, prior 25 years ago. So that was a long time ago. And then when the kids were older, they did not like crock pot meals. The only thing I could ever get them to eat out of the crock pot was sometimes chili, but they weren't really big on chili. You know, kids, they don't like things mixed together. They don't things touching each other, all of that kind of stuff. So they weren't super big on it. And I think that's why they didn't like the crock pot, because it was more of a casserole thing. And they wanted their stuff not to touch on the plate and all of that. So honestly, I have a crock pot and I use it to melt wax so I can make candles. I don't use it for food at all. Just because so for the last 15 years, the kids won't eat anything coming out of the crock pot.
Wow. What about air fryers? I mean, have you?
Oh, I love my air fryer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Now,
I use it every day.
How do you?
Twice.
What do you do it? What do you do with it?
I do anything that I still have a toaster oven, so I would say for what we use it for, we utilize it almost exactly the same way we would use a toaster oven. But I feel like it gets hotter and it cooks faster and crispier than my toaster oven. But probably because I just don't know all the dials to change everything. But we do like tonight I cooked some shrimp yesterday. I'm going to reheat the shrimp. I'm going to reheat it in the air fryer. So you just put it in. It just takes a couple of minutes and it'll come out hot. My husband I make him a lot of, over the summer I get a lot of veggies out of my garden, and I make him a lot of the jalapenos with cream cheese wrapped in bacon. And so he cooks those in the air fryer. He has those a couple nights out of the week. Of course, if we have chips or onion rings or French fries or anything like that, those get in there. But pizza reheats really well. So I think I don't necessarily cook in it.
It sounds like you cook in it.
Well, I more reheat things in it. So I think it tastes better than the microwave to reheat things.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I don't make hamburgers in it. Like we just grill them. We just go outside and grill them.
Yeah.
But I do utilize it for 90% of the things that we heat up. Anything that's just heating up something, it goes in the air fryer.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You don't have one?
No, I don't. That's why I asked.
And they have different size ones. So they have really small, individual size ones. And they have huge ones that have double drawers so that you can cook two different things in there.
Wow.
I don't have that one. My sister has that one because she has 6, there's 4 kids and the 2 of them. So it's 6 people, which is a lot. And they got that one. But Austin and I, we just have just the one large basket. It seems it works fine for us.
Yeah. Now, see, I couldn't live without my microwave. I mean, I could.
I know. Do you want to? Is that the life you want to live?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, well, there's that and my pizza stone. When it comes to reheating stuff, I love my pizza stone.
My sister loves her. She swears by her Pampered Chef one that she got 30 years ago. Yes, I don't know when.
Yes.
I never got into the stones. She bought me a couple, and over the years I got rid of them because
You would never burn cookies on them.
Yeah, that's what she tells me. She cooks her cookies, her pizza, of course, other things like croissants, other things like that.
Yep. If you want to reheat any pizza, I would always throw it on the pizza stone and just put it in there. Of course, I have a very bad habit of getting distracted when I put something on a pizza stone. And it's a lovely shade of deep brown when I'm finished. And I'm saying that just because the last couple of days I've done that, my dog's gotten to the point where he will sniff something and he will let me know, Mom, you want to check that out? I know there's leftovers there for me somewhere, but not if you burn it. But
she swears by the pizza stone. Like I said, I never, and it's the same with my cast iron, which isn't really a convenience tool, but I struggle with the whole not washing thing of the pizza stone. And same with my cast iron. The only thing I cook in my cast iron is cornbread.
Yeah.
That's it. The only thing I cook cornbread in my cast iron. I just can't get over that whole process.
Do you really believe that nobody washes their pizza stone?
I don't know. That's just what my sister told me when she got it. It was you can't wash, and that just, I couldn't get over it, and I never used it. I don't know.
I understand that, but you can wash it. I wouldn't use soap on it, but you can scrub it. You can. I use a scrubber on it and just make sure I rinse it off with really hot water, and
so
usually fine. There've only been a couple of times I've had to chisel stuff off of there, but other than that, it's been fine.
Yeah, I don't know. That just kind of bothers me.
But the microwave, I use that so much. My daughter cringes because she's such a coffee snob, but I will reheat coffee in that. It's like, well, it's a perfectly good cup of coffee. I enjoyed the way I fixed it. I just got cleaning stuff and now I feel like I earned my cup of coffee. I'm just going to reheat it. What's wrong with that?
I heat up my water for tea in it.
Yeah.
Which I know,
Well,
that's a bad
there's
thing.
that too.
I should get an electric kettle, but I don't know. Electric kettles are great if you use it every day, but I don't drink hot tea every day.
Right.
Then if you let it sit, then you get like the scaling
Yeah.
or whatever at the bottom of it, and I gotta clean
Exactly.
it. And I'm like, that seems like a little bit too much work for me. So I just, in the wintertime, I tend to drink tea maybe 4 days out of the week, but in the summer, I don't drink it at all. So
Yeah. So there you go.
I don't know. So I just go with the microwave.
Yeah, microwaves work. I like them.
I haven't used them myself, but I keep thinking about getting them. Do you use the Scrub Daddies, those sponges?
No.
Oh, they look really cool. I see them on, places that I watch television. Like TikTok. And they look really cool. I've never used them before, but people on the internet swear by them. So, I don't know.
Scrub Daddies?
Yeah, they're called Scrub Daddies.
have to
They're like
check that
little
out.
round scrubby things that they're
Right.
hard until you get them wet, and then I think
Yeah.
you scrub stuff with them.
Well, that sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine a scrub daddy would be something you would scrub stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny because there are different scrub products that you just supposedly spray on your shower and your shower would miraculously be clean.
Yes.
And I never believed in those, but I would try them anyway, because
Oh my gosh, I use scrubbing bubbles. You don't use scrubbing bubbles?
I found the Comet version of scrubbing bubbles.
Oh.
And it's
I'll
awesome.
have to try that one because scrubbing bubbles I love.
Yeah.
I use that one. I'll pay for the brand name. I don't buy a lot of brand name things.
Yeah.
But there's a few things I buy scrubbing bubbles because I think it's great.
Yeah. See, the Comet would be
Okay,
what I
I'll
would
have to
use.
look for that
This
one.
Comet, it's like a comet. It's not really foaming. It's more like a light misting thing,
Okay.
but it works. Oh my gosh, things that I'd be like, oh man, how did this happen? Like scum and stuff
Right.
like that. Right off.
Oh, I'll
I was
I'll
like,
have to look
I
for that
can't
one.
believe this. And not only that, but I've got this really white, shiny shower enclosure and it gleams afterwards.
Oh.
And it hadn't gleamed for a long time. Despite my best spritz and using
Right.
bleach and all that other stuff. Nope. But with the Comet Spritz thing, yeah, it works. Of course, Comet Spritz is not the official name of the product, but it's one of those things that I love the way
I'll
it
have to look
works.
for that one. I'd
Yeah.
never even heard about it.
It took me like no time I used that. And because I like wearing my socks around the house, but I don't want them to be bleached when I'm doing something like that, I was like, okay, let me see if I can try my Swiffer on this. So between that, I would spray it and use the Swiffer gleams.
Well, that is really smart.
Yeah, it worked like a charm, and I did not bleach my socks unintentionally. So
Look
yeah,
at that. I had to just pull out our Swiffer since we've had dogs for ever, but they just recently passed away. So now
sorry.
the crumbs in the kitchen
Yep.
are getting bad, and I'm like, I
Yep.
told my husband, I'm like, I guess I got to sweep like twice a week because this is crazy. Like I never noticed it before because
Yep.
of course there was always an animal that would
Yes.
take care of any crumbs that were on the ground.
Exactly.
And so I got out the Swiffer and I went and I bought the wet Swiffer ones. I'm like, I guess I'm gonna have to do this, like I said, twice a week or something because I'm like, because it's definitely bad. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to try the Swiffer on the shower. I never even thought of doing that before.
Yeah, it works. It's really good. Yeah. When I was a kid, we didn't have these, but the wipes, I mean, could you go through a day without those? I mean, seriously, before they came out with them, I used to take baby wipes because when I had my kids and I'd be cleaning up the bathroom, I'd use them. I'm like, dang, this works really well. And then they came out with the Clorox bleach wipes and all that.
the Windex wipes
Yeah,
and the wood
yeah.
floor wipes.
And my significant other and I would just look and laugh and say, or you could use
Yes.
the Pampers wipes, and they work just as well, which is what I used during COVID.
Oh,
Yeah, when everybody was running out of them, but they always had baby wipes.
okay.
So I would be, and I'm sorry for parents I deprived of their baby wipes for their children during COVID, but yeah, I was using them for wipes instead of the others.
Yeah, when COVID happened, I bought the Clorox ones to have because we don't have baby wipes in the house anymore. But when the kids were little, I used to use them for everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have,
Yeah.
you'd buy them from Costco and you'd have them bins everywhere in the house, upstairs, downstairs, in the car, everywhere, and you'd use them for so much more than the baby's bottom, but
the car seat,
everything.
Yeah,
it was great to have them around. And then of course when the kids aged out of them, I don't really have them around very much, but I did buy them when COVID happened, and we did utilize them to clean.
Yeah,
but now I'm just back to my spray stuff.
Yeah.
And doing that. Yeah.
So could you live without a coffee maker at your house?
I don't drink coffee.
At all?
At all. I don't drink coffee at all. So I could live without. I actually, to be honest, I don't even own a coffee maker at all. And if you come to my house, you either get instant or you can now, at least luckily, you can drive down the street. I don't have Starbucks in my town, but we do have, well, technically, I guess we have it in the grocery store, but we do have 3 coffee places. You used to have to drive 20 minutes to get coffee, but now at least you can just drive down the street. But yeah, no, I don't drink coffee.
Oh my gosh.
At all.
How do you function in the morning?
I just get up.
Oh my gosh. Well, of course, if I didn't wake a half a dozen times during the night, I probably would not need coffee as much. But I've got a coffee maker, and my sister for my birthday gave me one that grinds beans too. Oh yeah. So now I will get a nice fresh pot of coffee. I only drink 1 cup, but again, I will reheat that. And
will it just make you 1 cup, or does it make the whole pot?
It makes the whole pot. Well, you could make 1 cup. Actually, there is a setting on there that you can make like 4 cups. Because I guess they figure if you're enough of a coffee aficionado to have something that grinds its own beans, that yes, you will indeed be drinking 4 cups of coffee or around that during the day, which on weekends, that's not unusual for me to do that. But yeah.
I don't like the taste or the smell.
Really? Or the smell?
Or the smell. I won't drink coffee, ice cream. I don't eat tiramisu. I don't eat anything that has that coffee flavor in it. There's something about it.
That's wild.
Oh, it didn't sit well. I'm trying to remember if my parents drank it growing up. I don't actually remember that. I'd have to ask one of my siblings if they did.
Mom and I, once I hit high school, Mom thought I was old enough for coffee. So I would come home from school. She would sit down with a cup of coffee, and it was always instant, and make one for me. And we would sit down and just chew over what happened that day, which was kind of a nice girl talk type thing, but also her way of making sure that I wasn't running into any problems or anything like that. Yeah. But it also got me hooked on coffee.
My sister drinks it. She drinks lots of coffee. My brother doesn't drink it at all either.
Yeah. No, coffee's a thing in my family. Everybody drinks it. Although my sister won't go to Starbucks or any places like that. She's like, nope, I'm not making it at my house, or I'm not making it at work. I can live without it. And I'm like, okay, you do you. In the meantime, I'm thrilled with the 3 coffee shops that I can run into some way along the way to work.
Yes.
If I need to. But yeah, I wish there was something that would automatically wipe things down for us. I'm looking for the future where you've got automatic counter swipers.
That would be really good. They have that automatic toilet cleaner in Japan, or maybe it's China. I don't know where it is, where like it's like everything is wet, like everything is tiled and all sealed. And then there's like a button you push and the little thing comes down, sprays the whole thing, blows everything on. So you don't have to touch anything to clean your bathroom.
That's great.
So that's available now. But yes, I would say countertops, that would be really nice. But then I guess I'd have to put the stuff away on my countertops, and that would be an issue.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more of a stacker when it comes to things in my kitchen. I don't have clean countertops, or cleared, I guess I should say, countertops. I have piles of stuff on every counter.
Yep, I'm like that too. I'm definitely like that too. And I've got one corner of my counter right by the door out which I go with my dogs, and that's all my leftover baggies from grocery shopping or that kind of thing, because that's my baggies I take out when I take the dogs for a walk. But I got to figure out some way of taking care of those in a less unsightly way than what I've got right now, because they're just stuffed next to the KitchenAid mixer.
They have those little, they're like tubes of fabric.
Yeah.
You can easily make them too.
Yeah, I probably could.
And you just stick them in there, because it's literally just a tube.
Yeah.
Little elastic on the top, little elastic on the bottom, and you're done. And you can do that.
I should try to do that.
When I made my pantry, I made a special little cupboard for my plastic bag. So it's like a cupboard that's about not a dinner plate, but like a tea plate, like about that big. And you can just shove them all in there, and it has a little door to close.
That's great.
So I purposely made it for that. I was like, where am I putting my bags? Because I used to have the little thing that would hang up in there, but when I rearranged my pantry, I needed a place. I'm like, I have to have a place for my bags.
Yep.
Like it doesn't go, they don't go away.
Yep,
I'm trying
I
to
need
think
to
of
do
some
that.
other kitchen-y type of things that we just can't live without. I mean, outside of the kitchen, of course, your cell phone. I couldn't.
Oh, yeah.
I was such I did not want to make that move over to cell
Yes,
phones and all that.
yes,
When my husband had a
yes.
BlackBerry and
Yep.
he was on, I was like, you're so lame.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't sit here and talk to me and you have to be on your phone. And then, of course, that we made the changeover, and then I don't think I could ever go back. I love having technology at my fingertips.
It's nice, yeah. But I make sure when I go to bed, the phone stays down in my kitchen.
Oh.
Yeah. Because otherwise, and everybody in my family knows this. It's like, if there's an emergency, I'm sorry, I won't sleep if you call me at 9 o'clock at night and say, I hate my drive, or, whatever.
Right.
Because then I'll worry about every single place you at every intersection you come across along the way, and that'll keep me up that night. So I would just as soon not have that be a 9 o'clock in the evening conversation. My son knows that. My son never calls me at night. He rarely calls me at all, come to think of it. It's more like he's a texter, person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if he has questions, comments, or just a meme he wants to share with me or something, it's always text.
Well, my New Year's resolution was not to scroll on TikTok at night. And
You can't.
Let me just say, it's like February 12th, and I think I've still done it every single day. I just can't get. I keep telling my husband, he was supposed to change shifts, and so I keep telling him, when you change your shift, I promise I'm going to do better. But now it's the middle of February, he hasn't changed shifts, so I don't know if he's going to change shifts or not. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I go to bed at 8 so I can spend 2 hours scrolling
on your phone?
And then usually I get up sometime in the middle of the night, and hopefully if I can go back to bed, I do. And if not, then I'll get up and I'll spend 2 hours on my phone.
Are you serious?
I am crazy.
That's not good.
It's not good for you at all. It's so bad. Yes,
Yeah.
I know. It's awful. That's on my list. I was also supposed to replace scrolling with reading. I haven't done that either.
Oh, see, I read.
So,
That's my thing. And it's like, if I can't fall asleep, I'll read. And I get really mad at myself if I'm like, I push myself to finish a chapter when I really was sleepy, and I should have just put the book down then. So my New Year's resolution was not to do that.
Are you doing better than me?
Yeah, I did finish a chapter and looked up, and it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was waking up in an hour, and I'm
my
like,
goodness.
oh man, what am I thinking? Yeah, so my convenient little phone stays down in the kitchen.
Maybe I'll have to try that. I don't know. Certainly, I love smart TVs now, so that's really nice. So that I can project my TikTok on the TV, so I don't have to look at my screen.
See, my next TV, I'm going to do that because I've got a Roku TV right now, but I can't use it as a computer.
Okay.
Which is a problem for me, I think.
It's nice. I guess technically we have two TVs because we only have one in the house and then we have one outside. We have a patio, so I have one outside.
Nice.
But so I'm not super big on TV, although I do watch a lot of TV, but we don't have like TVs in every room or anything like that. We just never did that growing up with the kids. And it was just kind of like, do your own thing. But I do like having a smart TV because I like that it connects to all the apps. I like that it, connects to my phone. It does make it nice.
Yeah, of course, the thing is, then one of my kids or my ex-husband would be calling me at 9 o'clock. If he knew I had one of those, would be calling me then. I'm like, no. Oh, sorry, my phone's off. I can't get a hold. You can get a hold of me the next day.
Yes.
So,
It is nice to have. I saw a commercial, which would have been fabulous much, years ago. But they, how like, at least for me, I do a calendar with all my kids' activities and what's happening when they were younger. Of course, you had the paper calendar, and then eventually I went to the calendar in my phone. But they had kind of like the scrolling news boards, but it is a large TV, but it's a calendar, an electronic calendar that you can hang up in your house that looked to be about the size of maybe like a standard poster. So it was pretty big.
Yeah.
And I would assume it connects to an app. I don't know, but I don't need to manage anybody's calendars anymore, but I was like, that would have been really nice
to have something like that.
To be able to track what the kids were doing and be able to put it in my phone and it automatically be shown somewhere else. Because for a while there, we tried to do this. It was called Cozy, and it was like a sharing of a calendar. So I could put in events, different colors for different kids, and everybody could open up and look. But let's be real, no one opens it up to look at it except for me. I would have loved to have something in the kitchen.
Right.
That would have been right there. That would have been like like, this is what we're having for dinner, and this is who's home for dinner.
That would have been cool.
I would have loved that. So
Yeah.
I never used it, but it seems to me like it would have been a really good investment. I don't know how much they cost, but really good investment for people who have a busy life and busy calendar that they got to share with people.
Although, it's funny, the price of everything comes down. And I thought, that can't be true over the years. And I'm like, yeah, it is, because you'd be paying $5,000 for a TV.
Yeah, now like
and now
$200.
Yeah, exactly. I was going through Walmart before the Super Bowl. And, And there they are, the whole lineup you could get from small and convenient to something that was big screen.
Yeah.
And they were
even the big screen ones aren't that expensive.
They're really not anymore.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not that expensive.
I know my kids keep telling me that every time they visit me at Christmas. Mom, you've got a 45-inch screen there. And I'm like, why don't you go, get a 55? And I'm like, well, why? Because usually it's just me.
Yeah. I don't get new ones until they break.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
when it breaks, but we got our newest one, which is a smart TV, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but that's because we had electricity, a lightning struck near our house, not on our house, but it was enough to cause a surge, and it fried our TV. So which was fine. That's the only thing, luckily, that got fried, and so we had to get a new one. But yeah, again, I'm not a big TV person, but I just replaced them when.
Well, now you have to get sound bars with your TVs.
Oh, I don't do that. I don't.
Yeah, like I said, the clan told me when they were gathered for Christmas, you really need a sound bar for this because, first of all, I'm losing my hearing, but secondly, the sound bar would make it so that other people in the room that weren't sitting behind the TV would be able to hear what was going on.
Do you have the Alexa or any of the smart speakers?
I do. It's in a lovely box that's in my son's room in my house.
I don't use it. I never have. I don't like noise, so I don't have a lot of things that make noise unless I'm like, if I'm watching TV, that's different. But like background stuff, I don't like things on. I don't know. I don't want
like
someone
my
talking
jazz.
to me.
I love listening to the radio to and from places.
Yes.
That's my thing.
Yes.
But I like my jazz in the morning. That's my chill out, almost meditation. You
could just ask Alexa to play it.
I could.
I don't know. I don't have it, so.
But then she'd interrupt me after the first 3 songs and ask me what else I would want to play.
Yes, probably.
Whereas if I just put a CD in my lovely, it's not really an old-fashioned player, but my Crossley multi thing where I can actually play vinyl and I can listen to radio and I can play my CDs. And I will throw a CD in there and I'm good for 45 minutes to an hour depending on the CD.
Yeah.
And that's fine for me because that's usually about how long I'm puttering around the kitchen, getting ready for work, having my coffee and breakfast, letting the dogs in and out 10 times before I go off to work.
Yeah.
So it works pretty well for me.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I don't have one. All my kids have them. They all love them.
Yeah.
They all have cameras in their house, check on their pets and all that kind of stuff, and do all of that.
I'm debating whether or not I want to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. I never did any of that.
Yeah.
They're also really big. My daughter gave me, they're like smart light bulbs. So they have an app. You put them in your lamps and stuff like that, so you can control it from your phone. I do love those. I do use them all the time because I'm kind of scared of the dark. I live in the country and it's really dark by my house. And so I don't like going in the house if it's dark. So if I can I have them programmed to turn on, but then if we get home later or something happens, then I can turn on any light in the house by my phone. It's really nice.
Awesome.
Which Alexa does too, but I don't have that. So
see, I don't have that problem because I always leave my lights on. And my family at first was cringing with me until my daughter lived with me for a while, and then my son lived with me for a while, and they'd look at my electric bill and they're like, "Why are you not paying an arm and a leg for your electricity?" I'm like, "Because I use the low watt. There's a reason why they switched us over to LED lights. They don't use up that much electricity.
Yeah.
So that's what I have on in my house, so nobody knows when I'm coming and going."
Yeah.
Which I like.
Which is important.
Yeah. I mean, I've got great next door neighbors, but still, it's nice to know that if they're gone for the weekend or something, I don't have to worry.
Yes.
Nobody would be able to know when I'm coming or going.
Yeah.
So.
I used to use the little timers that they have that you plug in and do that, but now I just have the smart lights and I just
makes sense.
They're
Gadgets
nice.
We can't live without.
I know. I know.
We've pretty much run the gamut on that, and maybe there'll be a gadget for that one of these days. I'm Dianna Kelly. She's Sheri Waltz, and this is Go Tell Mom. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Go Tell Mom, where we chew on stuff that you talk about with your mom, or maybe not. If there's something you want brought up, something you want to add, comment below, and I'll be back next week.